Hello, everybody. Welcome back to All In. So today we're going to talk a little bit about speaking and how to show up when you speak, and what does that really mean. And what I'm talking about is, um, Cassandra and I were just talking, as we always do, prior to our starting, just about speaking in the events that we do. And I will tell you, probably over the last 6 months, I've had quite a few people who've reached out to me. They've seen me here or just in other places and asked me about getting into the speaking game, and getting out here and speaking. And what's interesting is well, it's not interesting. I'm very direct and very transparent. You all probably know that by now. And so one of the things I talk about is there's different ways to show up. And so what do I mean by that? So, one, it's absolutely you can get out there and speak for free. And so this can be, depending upon whether it's in chambers, organizations, community groups, youth groups, all the things, you can speak for free. Then you may have what people call speaking in front of people's audiences. And so what does that mean is people who have an established audience getting in front of them and speaking because it's very specific to who you want to go after. There's also speaking for exposure. I think we both have heard of that quite a bit, right? Is you're not getting paid. And the idea behind that is you will be exposed to whatever group, association, whatever that may look like. There's also pay to speak, where you actually pay an organization or a group, a conference, or whatever to speak in front of that group. And the idea is you can sell from stage or in the back of the room, as they call it sometimes, your book programs or whatever. But all these different ways of speaking is what I always talk about when somebody asks me about this. Is what I want people to understand is this is a speaker's livelihood. And so we have to think about it from a perspective of does it make sense? But also educating people to understand that while, yes, they absolutely have had people who've spoken for free before, but the reality is when this is a person's business, we want to make sure people understand that honorariums are important. Making sure to stop using the word exposure all the time. For a lot of us, we've been exposed a lot. And so it really is about compensating a speaker not only for their time. A lot of people equate the fee with it's only 60 minutes. It's not just 60 minutes. It's all the years, it's the experience, it's all the things that come with that. And whatever fee that speaker is charging or requesting, it's just not for the 60 minutes, you all. It really is all the things that they bring to the table, and it's the value. And so a lot of what a speaker has to do is think about that when they are asked to speak. And both of us, obviously are asked to speak quite a bit. And one of the easiest things that has happened, probably for me in particular, over the last few years, is being able to say no. And it's not to say that we don't necessarily care or I don't care about the person or the organization. It's about the business. And so I want people to really understand that, again, it's our livelihood. And so much of this is so important to understand that when people even refer us, when people want us to speak at certain places, people need to think about that. And so I hope today, if nothing else, we're going to educate people around what speaking means. And I always say, as good as we are, and we are good, you all, this is really about making sure that you honor, again, the experience and honor the value that we bring when we speak, so that you understand that this is not us saying no because we don't necessarily want to. It's just this is our business and this is our livelihood.
Yeah, and I think to your point, you also have to weigh out where you are in your speaking career. If you're trying to speak just because you love getting up in front of groups, and it's whether it's not your business or it's just a hobby for you, if it's something that you're doing to just network and create community that way, then that's a goal, and that's a very wonderful goal, and it's something that you have to decide for yourself. Once you get to a point though where you're like, I want to be serious about it. I want to actually get up in front of people and
Right.
I have a message and I have my signature talks that I do, and there's definitely outcomes that you want to see from the speaking that you do. Then that's a different thing. It's like I always equate it. I go back to it all the time, but it's because 30 years of my career have been in this business, in the music industry. There are so many gigs that I've turned down because they said, well, we don't have any money, but it's exposure. We don't have any money, but it's exposure. And I'm like, I don't need exposure. I need to make a living. And so so you have to weigh it out. Some of the paid sponsorship type stuff where you get on someone else's stage can be beneficial to you. It can be. You can get a lot of clients that way if you're a coach, or if that's something that you're working on. You got to fill your programs. But there's also, it's okay also to just say, I'm a speaker and that's what I am. And that's what I want to do. And I'm not necessarily here to get clients. I'm here to get on other stages because I want to speak. That's my life. I love influencing and helping people in that way. And so I think figuring out, to Paula's point, discerning what is it for you? What is the game of speaking that you want to participate in? Do you want to be that pro? Do you want to be somebody that's doing it because it's just something you enjoy? Do you want to be somebody that does it around the community, gets paid something, but you're not necessarily a high ticket speaker, but then there's high ticket speakers, right? So you have to decide what it is that works for you. And setting that boundary, to Paul's point, is really hard sometimes. Trying to set the boundary about saying, somebody calls you and you're like, no, I can't do that for that much money, or I can't do that for free. It's really easy to feel guilty and bad, especially if it's an organization or something that you feel like, well, that's a good organization, or it's a, good thing.
Yeah.
You have to weigh that out for yourself. But I always tell people, if you're going to say yes to something, make sure it's a resounding yes. Make sure it's not that later you're going to feel like I wish I hadn't said yes, because you're going to feel upset or, a little resentful maybe because of all the work you end up doing and it doesn't end up panning out financially. So I think you have to really soul search on that, on each opportunity that you either apply for or that comes your way, because that's where we can get into trouble too. We want to make sure that we're saying yes to the things that are actually, aligned, feel good. We've weighed out all the options. We know exactly what we need to do, and we feel good about saying the yes at whatever price point you are saying yes to. So I think that's a really important thing. So know thyself. Know thyself, because that will make all the difference in the world. Because I know Paula and I both have had experiences where we said yes to things and later went, that was so much more work than they said it was going to be, or that was so much more time than I signed on for, or, I'm not getting paid enough they kept asking for more, and so you just have to be really careful. And you can really impact a lot of people in amazing ways if you get out there and do this. But you also have to take care of yourself too. You have to take care of your own needs too. So just make sure that you are vetting those very, very, very carefully.
And what I'll just add, the other piece of this is the other side, or those who are hiring. One of the best conversations I had many years ago is a group of women at an organization who we talked about what my honorarium would be to come in and speak to their group. And they didn't have a budget for it. And so we talked about it. I explained what that means, why there should be one, and those kinds of things. And I remember at the end of that conversation, all three of them saying, "Thank you so much for educating us. We didn't even realize this was a business." And so part of this is I also recognize that people just don't know. And so that part is great when you can explain and tell people what this is. And I think it goes back to what Cassandra said in terms of, for us as the speaker, depending upon where you are in your business or in your life, what this may mean. It may not be as important, but also for those who aren't doing this at all, and you're on the other side who bring in speakers, at least understanding this part, I'm hoping today you learn something as well, because it is just as important for us as speakers to be able to educate, the masses with our message, but it is important for those who are hiring speakers for whatever reason, that there is at least an idea of understanding what that looks like. So again, my hope is that everybody's been educated today on both sides of the power of what bringing a speaker is and what that means. And then for those of us who do this for a living, you understand, as Cassandra just said, know thyself. Love that. Because it's important for you to be able to say yes at the right time and being able to say a resounding no without second guessing yourself. So,
and there's a real big difference between hiring a really well, a speaker that's got experience, but really knows how to run a room, really knows how to impact an audience in the way that you want them to. And that takes skill and practice. So, when you're doing that, you're hiring somebody that is going to bring something amazing to your event
Yes.
or whatever it is that you're putting
Yes.
together. So an about face on us because Paula, how can people hire you to like what do you speak about?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I speak about communication. I talk about emotional intelligence. One of my mantras is true leaders create more leaders. And so I am all about, oh girl, I'm on a mission right now to change the world one conversation at a time. So I speak really about all kinds of topics when it comes to leadership development. I've been hired to do motivational speaking as well. But honestly, it is really about trying to get us to understand our communication styles, our leadership, authentic leadership. That's really important to me. I think too often what happens is we hide ourselves and we do not show up as the leaders that we really can be. So for me, it is really all about that and the framework that I use of trying to really, again, create more leaders in the world.
And
Thank you for asking.
I'm gonna toot Paula's horn because she's an amazing speaker. So you would be so lucky to have her on your stage. I speak on, so my two main talks are one of them is called Your Confident Voice. So it's really embracing your own inner power, strength, and voice. So that could mean in leadership, but it can also mean just in life as entrepreneurs, being able to really own your voice, to know it, to be able to speak in the rooms you want to speak in, to be able to stand up confidently in the rooms that you want to speak in. And that's one. The other big one that I'm doing these days is called I Started a Choir and It Changed My Life. That one is about community building, creating safe spaces and sense of belonging, and also risk taking. So if you have a grand idea or something that you want to do in the community that you're afraid to launch, this is a really good talk to come in and say it's worth the risk because you see the impact. It's not always easy, but trust that gut and go after that thing. And then I'm also a hired MC, and I can also come and do a song at your event, which I've done for many organizations to help them raise money, and also just kind of elevate the room. So that's what I do. And Paula and
And she's good at it, y'all. She's
I,
very good at it.
and Paula and I can come as a package too. So just know that. So
We sure can.
so just trying to toot our horns a little bit, let you know what we do if you're in need of that. And we hope that if you are pursuing speaking and or you are a speaker, that this helped a little bit, reach out. I also coach speakers on, presentation skills and things like that. So feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Paula. She does an amazing job with leadership coaching and she's got some programs. So we hope you guys have an amazing day. And if you do have questions, reach out to us. Throw them in the comments. We'll respond and hope you have a great day. Anything else you want to say, Paula?
I'll just end by saying the other piece of this is public speaking can be tough. We know it is the number one fear out there. And so for a lot of people, they struggle. And I do get asked that. I know Cassandra does as well. So I wanted to just say that one piece is we also speak and we, again, together, as well on public speaking. And I think that's important to say, just given I recognize so many people, will reach out and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you do that. I wish I could. And my thing is, you can. You can. Sometimes you might need some coaching, and that's okay. And we do that as well. So come on, you all. Let's go. We all can do this.
Let's go all in 2025. Okay, you guys have a great
Yes.
day. It's a beautiful day.
All
Bye.
right. Bye, you all.